Reinventing the Yellow Pages Directory, How YellowAPI Became an Engine for Digital Transformation. First, I'll go over some housekeeping for the webinar. All lines are muted, and this presentation is being recorded, and you'll be able to get a copy of the recording after the webinar. We will be able to have a Q&A session, and you can ask questions throughout the webinar through your GoToMeeting console. And this time, we're offering a hashtag for Twitter, so you can follow the content and quotes from this webinar either now or later. Okay, and I'd like to introduce today's guest speakers. We've got Brad Wing, the head of YellowAPI, and Jonathan Lavoie-Lévesque, Senior Product Manager. So now I'll turn it over to Brad.
Very good. Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. So thank you very much for joining us. Hello to everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Again, as you said, Brad, heading up YellowAPI, originally launched YellowAPI over almost 3 years ago now, here in, based out of Montreal in Canada. What I'll just go through today is a little bit of kind of maybe our history, our strategy, how we're looking at enabling innovation. And my esteemed colleague, Mr. Jonathan, is with me as well. And he'll take the back half and really talk a little bit more towards our B2D, our business to developer, as well as some of our ecosystem strategies and how we've been able to really kind of change or move the needle in regards to our perceptions. So, as I mentioned, a little bit of Yellow Pages to YellowAPI, transformation, B2D, ecosystem, and then happy to follow with some Q&A. As you will see on the very last slide, we do have our contact information, both Jonathan and I. Please feel free to use that information. You can ping us directly, or as we were talking through the chat on the GoToWebinar panel. So first of all, Yellow Page, a little bit of context. We are operating exclusively in Canada at this point, Yellow Pages Group. Little bit of difference between United States specifically, as I imagine that's where most of the panelists or most of the attendees are on the call, and that we really have a different situation. We're not a fragmented Yellow Pages or local search environment in Canada. We're only one company. We effectively have consolidated the market from coast to coast, east to west, and basically are able to work from this position of strength. So when we work in Canada, we partner with the Googles, the Yahoos of the world, and definitely have a different take on the local search industry. But more importantly, you know, we're a 100-year-old company back in 1908. Then obviously fast forward into 2001, and really the start of a lot of the online work that we were doing from a local perspective. Again, solidified national platforms in around 2006 to be one single company working from a very strength position. And most recently in 2010, launching YellowAPI, the spearhead of our strategy, if you will, the leading edge of our transformation as we move not only from print to web to mobile, but also into a distributed model which are leveraged through the APIs. So as we talked about, digital transformation is really about where YPG is today. So we work from the premise, at least Jonathan and I anyways, that there are lots of smart people out there looking for data. Also that we want to change perceptions. We're not your mother's phone book. We're not your grandmother's phone book. You know, we're not that old state company that many believe we have, and obviously there's a lot of baggage sometimes that comes with being a Yellow Pages publisher. But there's really also something else that we're doing, and that is really taking the old model, as it were. You know, sometimes we refer to ourselves as a 100-year-old startup just waiting for the right platform. Those platforms are mobile and API. So just a few years ago, we rebuilt our APIs from scratch internally that now power our mobile presence especially. We then took that and basically wanted to take it to the masses. So as you see from this slide, from the print to the mobile and now to API fanboys and API fangirls everywhere, we have built an entire strategy and program to basically leverage a developer ecosystem for the benefit of transforming our company. But at the end of the day, it's about the what, and the what is, the content. Obviously, content is king. Many people hear that. So in our way to leverage content so that it's not through our owned and operated channels was using the API, and in this case, obviously, the help of Mashery from the very beginning. But YellowAPI is essentially local content at its best. So from our perspective, it's 1.5 million geocoded listings. So it's the largest database in the country of all the businesses. It is a single source. So as I mentioned, one company, not fragmented, coast to coast, and with the eye on where we work and play. It's also bilingual in French and English from coast to coast. The benefit or the relevance of this data is also comes directly from the source. So we're bringing in directly from the telcos, in our case, Bell, Telus, and Rogers, and others. But whether it be AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile's, you're bringing in this content directly. Then finally, on the bottom right-hand side, what we're doing with this content is the key. What we're doing is adding richness, adding layers, adding a depth, and to this curated content. Again, curated being a very key adjective, in that we are making sure that it is relevant, it is up to date, it is changed. If a business closes, we delete that listing, et cetera, et cetera. This then gives our partners the best in class. So why APIs? So we have the strategy of a digital transformation. We're sitting on the content. The content in this case, this listings database, is our largest asset. But what we're also looking to do is trying to take it to the masses. So APIs allow us to essentially be platform agnostic. They allows us to take our data, whether it be smart TV to mobile to tablet to web and to Google Glasses or what have you. It allows us to measure effectively in terms of creating new analytic funnels, managing impressions or searches or visits or API calls or click-through rates, etc. It gives us a sense of security. It allows speed to market. And it really is about opening up the gates, as you were, unleashing innovation. And APIs for us deliver all of this and more. So ultimately, through the APIs, then, it's about powering local search. Our mandate is to basically power every local search in Canada, no matter where it exists, whether that's a B2B, B2C channel, whether that be channels that, as we know, don't even exist today, i.e., called the Google Glasses of the world, and everything, that is either before or after some of these cycles. So what we are looking to do essentially is, make available through an open API platform at YellowAPI.com a portal and an onboarding process that allows all manner of partners, whether they be enterprise, from those sitting inside, the engineering department in Yahoo, to those sitting inside their basements, or those at a hackathon, basically looking to bring on a local functionality. So what we actually did here, which is an interesting take on it, is on this slide, we actually built our own internal app. So this app actually takes our partners, we supply it to them, but it gives them an idea of the real power that we have inside our database, what they can do with it, what the various content pieces are within the API. And it even provides them a guided tour, because sometimes, obviously, we know our business best, but other people are looking to really embed that into their own UX or their own strategies. So we provide as many tools as we can. So what we're really looking to do at the next step is then uncover new opportunities, new revenue channels. As I said, we're a 100-year-old startup. We're waiting for the right platform. We have the data. We have the database. We have really generated, and we've done a turnaround from a YP perspective, a Yellow Pages perspective, and then we're generating now, it's 38 here, it's just over 40% of our total revenues off of online. Obviously, mobile and partnerships or third-party apps are just a little bit behind that. So in our owned and operated properties, whether that be mobile apps or tablet apps, we're talking over 5 million downloads of our YellowAPI powered apps. This is generating somewhere around the neighborhood of 30% of searches coming just from mobile. Where 3-4 years ago, as everyone knows, there wasn't a lot of mobile traffic, and now we're generating a significant portion. So using these new APIs and opening them up to the developer ecosystem, we're ensuring the recurring revenue for the future. So it really is a new model for the digital age. It's about taking on the left-hand side the old pyramid, if you will, the print as the foundation, the web, the mobile, the APIs as that sharp tip, and doing what we can to flip it on its head, to turn it right upside down, so that YellowAPI and the distributed strategy and the syndication strategy, where we open up these listings for the benefit of partners at the end of the day, which generate additional eyeballs for all of our advertisers. So whether that be a bakery, a dry cleaner, a restaurant, or a plumber, or anything else that is of a local search in nature, we want to be able to be there where consumers are making those searches, and we're powering all that search. So YellowAPI, as I mentioned, is driving this transformation. It's the engine that's powering the shift from print to a digital environment. Presently, we have 3 APIs. We have opened up the Places API, which are the basic listings, a Deals API, which is a repository of geo-coded coupons and deals, which are from coast to coast. So again, built on our strength of covering the entire country, we're able to build a deals and coupons repository, as well as a sponsored API, so for sponsored listings. 2,900, actually almost close to 3,000 developers today, 50 live apps over the last couple of years, generating millions of monthly searches, and in addition, where and if necessary, working with our partners to provide monetization models. Obviously, some of our partners are looking more for a UX building and for feature sets, but then there's also some large enterprise partners which are looking to capitalize on their already significant user base to drive traffic and therefore drive dollars for traffic. So a very interesting monetization model. What we're really looking to do is really then move the YellowAPI in another set in 2013, 2014, more from just an ecosystem or just a hacker model, if you were, into a full-on business development and partner management model. So we move our traditional 30-page contracts to 30-second signups. We move from 10 contracts a year or 1 contract per month to 10 contracts per month, because we're able to definitely move up, be much more agile. We're able to then partner with the leading media companies in the business, onboard them quicker, work with their IT departments, work with their integrators, and get them up and running as soon as possible. It has really been a change for our business development and our business onboarding partnership and strategies. So with that, I'll take a stop from the business and the strategy, and I'll pass it over to my my friend and colleague, Jonathan.
Thanks, Brad. So that's great. I mean, Brad presented the value of the API, and I guess we're using it to really drive new business opportunities from a Yellow Pages group side. But how do you use that, and how do you bring your API strategy to the market? I mean, one of the biggest challenges that we have at Yellow Pages is basically to reach that whole generation of people or of users who've never used a phone book in their life. So perhaps there's even a generation that last time they saw a phone book was as a booster seat in a restaurant. So how do you take that data, which is really our core asset at Yellow Pages, and bring it to these very highly relevant and highly contextualized experiences, and really empower your users in finding what's around them in our case? So really, local search is a very fragmented world. We cover our own branded properties even on new devices. So really, we have a strong presence on the web. We offer all sorts of services for marketing for small and medium businesses in Canada. But we also cover everything that's mobile and what's coming. So let's say Google Glass being a good example. And by the way, these apps are all powered by YellowAPI, so we're really eating our own dog food, and we're using it as our own transformation engine internally. But there's much more than that. And really, how do you engage developers? How do you engage the developer ecosystem to use your data and to show that your data is not only the best, but the easiest to use and will drive better engagement from a user side on, let's say, a partner platform or on a developer platform. So for us, it was an interesting challenge because we have obviously some brand baggage, as Brad mentioned. Yellow Pages isn't really to this day yet associated with digital, although the API is one of the things that's quickly bringing us there. So we started to look at what we call business to developers model. So we are a B2B business dealing with small, medium businesses, connecting them with consumers. So this is the D2C portion, but really we're targeting a third channel, and that's business to developers. And for us, it was all about empowerment and how to make sure that the developers feel like they're in control. The API, the completely open API, was definitely something that was critical to that mission. But that wasn't enough. So what we decided to do is really to market the developers without marketing the developers by empowering them with the API Fangirls and API Fanboys campaign. And with that, we decided to go where the developers were. So that would be in conferences, that would be in hack events, that would even be you know, dropping by at small startups and discussing with the founders and the technical people down there, and making sure that we have a strong relationship and a strong organic relationship with these guys, and let them know that we're there to help them. So right now we are at close to 3,000 developers using the YPG data to power local search apps, and I have to tell you that this is mainly in Canada, so we're pretty proud of the results that we're seeing right now. And not only that, we are also offering specific programs to help founders with maybe technical issues they might have with the API, some creative help if they don't have any designers in-house, or even some financial support if we can help you know, integrations or better experiences to be built in the local search space. The Mashery strategic services and developer network has really helped us on that side. We were able to tap into their network of developers and really reach a very large audience, and that really got us going in the first place. And we were connected with all sorts of event organizers, developer evangelists, you know, influencers, and that helped us a lot in the beginning with our API program. Now, just to give you a little bit of context, I want to give you some examples of apps using our API, and just to show how broad our reach is. The first example is a very horizontal one. So the app Point is a global app. They have 16 million users around the world, and the Canadian local search portion is entirely powered by YellowAPI. So if you were to look for a dentist in Toronto, plumber in Vancouver, florist in Winnipeg, the data return is entirely powered by YellowAPI. And some of you might think this is a competing app, and it really is. But what this allows us is to tap into Point's user base and make sure that every single local search in Canada is basically powered by Yellow Pages. And this means more eyeballs on our advertiser listings. So that fits very well into our business model. And what's even more interesting is that we have some very, very vertical integrations. And these integrations are very interesting in terms of user engagement. So if you're a curler and you're on the go and you really have that big urge to go curl, you pull up your Canadian Curling Association app, and this is where you can find all your news, events, photos, and videos. But there's also that little feature called the Club Finder that will allow you to find all the curling clubs around you, no matter where you are in Canada. And the second example you have there is the Professional Order for Pharmacists in Quebec, who just launched a major advertisement campaign about their services, what they can do for you, how to manage your drugs and medication. And they included a Find a Drugstore feature in there. So anywhere you are, you can always find the nearest drugstore around you, which is obviously a very engaging way of presenting our advertiser as Yellow Pages, but then it's very interesting from a user experience point of view for a mother that's looking for the closest pharmacy because their kid just they're sick or they don't know what's happening. So that's a very interesting and very engaging way of presenting the information. So, I mean, these were very simple examples. We have we have a lot of apps right now using the API in all sorts of ways and very creative ways, more traditional ways. But really, what this means for us is opening up and basically driving the digital transformation of this traditional publishing company into really a publishing company, but of digital content, digital good, and becoming that that main point of contact with everything that's related to local search in Canada. So I guess this gives you a good idea of how you can use your API for your business and open it up for to drive your business model as well, and how it creates new business opportunities and even sales channels in some cases. And really, the last point there is, I think what has made us so successful is the importance of developer relations for your API and your brand. If it wasn't for YellowAPI, we might not be the digital company we're turning into, but really it has been one of the main points that allowed us to really tell the world, here we are totally 2.0, and we are there for you for all your digital and web/mobile needs as a business. So I will be handing the presentation back to the folks at Mashery.
Thanks, Jonathan and Brad. That was a great presentation. So before we get into Q&A, I just wanted to go over really quickly what Mashery does for those that aren't familiar. As you heard from YPG's story, a successful API program needs to be relevant to your business and drive value. Mashery's API management platform sets you up for success because we're the only ones that enable you to manage the three essential elements of your APIs. Your APIs as products, your partners, and your traffic. Our holistic approach to API management goes beyond just our platform. We also provide strategy services and developer outreach services. Strategy services helps you maximize business impact of your API, discover new revenue opportunities, and reduce the complexities of doing business with partners. While developer outreach is not just about public APIs, it's about delighting all of your API customers. Our team has the expertise to help you build the developer program that's right for your business, from initial developer recruitment to ongoing co-marketing programs. And this slide, we just wanted to showcase some of our other customers. And as you can see, YPG is in good company. So now we'll open it up to Q&A. I'll pull up the slide with everyone's contact information in case you wanted to contact any of us. So we'll start with first question. Why did you guys decide to buy versus build in-house, and how did you approach management on this decision?
So Brad here. Decide to buy versus build. I think really at the time it was, I mean, you're talking 3 years ago now. You're talking, I mean, at least in our case, it was a time to market, speed to market. It was a needing to really jump on the opportunity as we had the open door with management, and the services of Mashery in this case, helped us get, as I kind of highlighted in an earlier slide, platform agnostic, security, time to market, user management. These are the things that all came with this program, and these were very, very important to us. Regarding management, I mean, we launched in Q3 2010. You are talking an entire 12-month cycle before that of convincing management. So it was definitely something that was something that took a little while, but I mean, we went from the management to the executive to the board even to get the buy-in and to get the original go-ahead. So having all these pieces in place and having the I guess the brand, if you will, also of Mashery allowed us or allowed the executive to make that decision.
Thanks. So we've got another question. Could you speak to the business development opportunities with having Mashery's product?
Definitely. I think that the business development is really a massive part of our API strategy today, especially with 2013 moving into 2014. To be honest, I mean, jumping into the whole API developer segments. The business development at the outset was probably a little bit far down the horizon, and we weren't really thinking fully of the full-on real pure business development functions at the time. It was really a B2D developer hacker kind of model that we were looking at. But it became very evident quite early on that there was more to this, and we have slowly but surely evolved to the point where we now run our partnerships with CBC, which would be the equivalent of NPR, TELUS, the equivalent of Verizon, Yahoo. Obviously in Canada, we power all of Yahoo's local search, both web and mobile, through the APIs. The business development, the APIs have allowed us to really ratchet up our business development strategies, whereas the API now is, as much it is a hacker tool, it's a full business development onboarding tool, where we will go into a business development high-level tier 1 type of meeting and be basically, just selling the tenets of the YellowAPI in terms of, we have what you need, we can customize, we can get you up and running in 30 seconds. Your integrators can start playing with the information, understanding what's possible, and it also just allows a really a quick time to market, turn around a contract very quickly.
Great, thanks. So next question. How do you ensure that your capacity and performance scales as your API user base and usage grows?
So Jonathan here. So this is a very interesting question. There's, I guess, two parts to an answer. First one is so the infrastructure at Mashery is easily scalable. So we have had situations where we had to, modify a little bit our setup just to be able to accommodate to new partners, to new opportunities, which has been very easy. From our own experience, but also more at the preventive level, we also monitor all the traffic that's coming through using the analytics and the reporting platform, which allows us to basically predict any big spike or any upcoming event or any, looking at the history of a specific partner to ensure that they will be covered for the next 2-3 months. So this is basically how we manage the scalability of our partnerships.
I think we have time for just one more question. So last question, we have a participant that wants to know if you charge for any of the APIs that you've created, and if you do, how did you choose or define the pricing and methodology for charging?
So that's, again, Brad here. It's a pretty easy answer to the question. The question is no, we do not charge. It's all free. We come from a place of our model is really about empowering and our partnerships, in essence, powering local search. So we give the APIs for free. They will always be free. We do not have any plans in which to charge for them, as they basically allow us to syndicate and distribute our paying advertisers who are paying us, because it's the dry cleaners and the small medium-sized businesses of the world that are paying YPG and allow us to take this free to market. We believe that there is a significant barrier depending on your data. If it is a paid versus free model, we've seen a number of paid models kind of implode over the years. Then again, I mean, if you do have a very specific niche or rich data set, there can be definitely a strategy made or a an idea made for charging a certain, would that be per API call, or in a band of 4 million calls per month at X dollars. And so these were some of the things that had been discussed at the outset, but at the end of the day, we decided to go with free.
Thank you so much. So I just want to wrap up the webinar and thank Brad and Jonathan so much for joining us and speaking today. And again, I want to tell all the participants that we have a recording of this webinar and we'll be sending it out to everybody. So thank you for joining us and have a good afternoon. Bye.
Thank you.